Good afternoon and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here this afternoon with Shadow and Brandy, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is Shadow's ability to understand and respond to his formal on-leash obedience commands. The little tiny corrections and lots of motivation that we give the dogs when we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Brandy is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and she keeps the bulk of the leash folded neatly in her right hand. That leaves her left hand free to give any correction that's needed. And the only correction that we give here at school is a little tug and release on the training collar. And that is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Shadow's going to come home with his very own training equipment, and you're going to be taught how to use that properly during your follow-up training session. Now, Shadow is sitting very nicely at Brandy's left. He's not a fan of bugs or flies, so every once in a while he'll start looking around for flies and get distracted. But the first exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is heeling. Heeling is proper leash walking, and the command is Shadow heel. Now, at this point, Shadow has a job to do, and that is to maintain pace with you when walking. And if you notice, each time that Brandy stops her feet, Shadow has been taught to sit automatically without being told to wait for his next command. So he's not forging out ahead of her. His job is to keep his shoulders next to her left leg, and each time that she stops walking, he's been taught to sit without being told to wait for his next command. And notice where Brandy's left hand is on the leash. He doesn't have a ton of slack. So if he's walking to go potty, take him to a place where he relieves himself, give him the slack that he needs to sniff and go potty. But when you're walking in public, he's to stay right next to your left leg. Now the next command that we're going to demonstrate when he gets done with his imaginary flies is the sit stay. The stay is a hand and a voice command. And because it is a stationary exercise, it is a one-word command. All of these commands work together to give you a dog that you have control of and that you are the leader, not he. When Brandy returns back to him, she walks all the way around him as an additional distraction. She returns back to heel, stops at his shoulders, and then he gets another command. So this should make walking him a pleasure. And fortunately, all of our training is done on the left, so your right arm will not be affected at all when you're walking with him. And he will try to get to your left side at this point because that's where he's been worked. Practice your sit stays in the house. It all works together. This time Brandy calls him in, and this is the come on command. She calls him in and has him sit and then goes back to heel. He looks up at Brandy. He's excited. He's happy. He's not suffering. But he is an excitable dog that's easily distracted. So that's what we're working on here, is focus and maturity. Brandy calls him in and he comes in. If he doesn't sit, you give that little tiny tug we talked about and tell him no sit. And back to heel and back sitting. Very nice. And these exercises help to exercise his brain, which is the only thing that he probably hasn't had exercised quite enough, because he's a smart guy. This time Brandy's going to demonstrate the down from a heel position, so always have your dog seated first. She's going to use her left open palm straight down toward the ground and the one-word command to down and stay. He likes to stretch out his back legs like a frog. Practice this right in your living room. He should be able to work up easily to a 5-minute long down stay. When Brandy returns back, she goes all the way back to heel and she stops at his shoulders and she heels him out of that. But you can see his tail is up and wagging. He's happy. He looks up at her like, are we doing this right? Always have him seated first. Left open palm straight down toward the ground, and the one-word command to down and stay. Now he broke from that, so she makes him repeat it. That's how it works at school. And if you don't do it right the first time, you have to do it again. She calls him in. She uses a happy voice. He happily comes in and gets praised for a good job. Goes back to heel and back sitting. But the whole role reversal thing that is our goal here with him, so that when you're on a walk with him, he's not walking you. And it doesn't take a lot. Now Brandy's going to leave him in a sit-stay. She's going to turn to face him. She's going to use her right hand to give the command. And she drops him into a down, and then she backs away. This is your distance down. Now we have demonstrated for you all of this little cutie's formal on-leash obedience commands. And he is definitely a dog that you can teach an older dog new tricks. He has had a great time at school. We've enjoyed every minute of having him. And we want to thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company. We'll see you soon.